Hi everyone, and welcome to another painting tutorial from Jane Carkill's book Watercolor in the Woods. If you'd like to know which supplies you're gonna need, you can pause this page, gather the materials, and then come back and let's get into it. So to have the butterfly be authentic to the species that it represents, you might have to, play with your drawing a little bit, because mine originally didn't have wide enough wings to be identifiable as this type of butterfly, which is the peacock butterfly. It's an European kind of a butterfly, I'm not quite sure. But the upper wings are supposed to be wider than the lower ones, so I had to adjust and kind of go from there. So pay attention to the lines of the body of the actual butterfly, because that is important, and if you mess this part up, very obviously, then it's just not gonna look like the real thing. Once you get one half of the body done, you can move on to the second half and just mirror what you've got. Originally, I was just trying to use the picture in her book as my guiding picture, and so I was just trying to copy from the book. But then I noticed that some of the elements did not align, like for example, those eyes that you can see on the lower wings, they are not on the same level. So I had to go back and kind of redraw that part to make them align better. So once you're done with one side, just mirror it to the other side so that it all is almost identical. I think in real nature you will see that it's never fully identical, but it's almost identical. So you want to achieve this effect. And also, of course, as always, she does have templates at the end of her book. So if you'd like to use those, you can absolutely just do that. I have to say, I enjoyed drawing this butterfly more than I enjoyed using watercolor technique on it. I think it was because there's so many different colors and you have to do it kind of step by step, and sometimes you don't get it exactly right, or maybe you didn't wait all the way till things got dry and then you mess something up. So this one requires patience. You have to do it kind of in a relaxed atmosphere, not being in a rush. And I feel like just drawing it really was something I could achieve easily in one sitting, and it took me maybe 10 minutes or something, but coloring it took me a good 2 hours, I would say. So definitely make sure you have enough time, don't be in a rush. As always, read her instructions carefully, because she has a lot of information under every step, and if you miss some of this information, you will miss some crucial knowledge about what you need to accomplish in this step, and then you move on to the next step, and then you finish that and you're like, why is that part still not done? And I'm now working with a very dark color, which it might mess everything up. You don't want this to happen, and this did happen to me once during this painting. So just pay attention to the instructions, because they really spell it out for you. Like even here you can see, even though we didn't get to the dark color part, I already messed something up when I started coloring with this kind of beige neutral tone very close to the red, and then the red started bleeding. So that was not great, but then I feel like by the end of it I kind of fixed it as much as I could. This is one of my favorite parts, is just outlining, just giving it a little more depth. I feel like it's such a small detail, but it changes a lot. And this is of course me beginning to fix some of that bleeding now that the red is completely dry. I feel like it kind of worked. It just required a little bit of extra effort. Now to my favorite part, which is the eyes. I just enjoyed mixing colors here. I just love how it's so simple, yet it's beautiful. I just love to see the color bleed when it's supposed to bleed as opposed to when it's not supposed to. So it's really nice to see the proper bleeding mixing technique creating the intended effect. And this was fun too, coloring the body, finally kind of giving it some shape. And originally I used this brush, which is my smallest brush, which I cut to make it kind of 3/0 or 0 size. And then you can see here I switched the brushes because I'm like, okay, this is not working for this. I need it to be wider, and it ended up working so much better. Yep, here's another unintentional bleeding just because I was impatient and I didn't wait till the paint dried properly. But yeah, once you get to this part, once you get to black, you really want to make sure everything's dry and ready, because otherwise it can mess the entire thing. And you know, once you get to dark colors, you just really want to be careful and precise with your brush. So take your time. This was the part where I wasn't paying attention, so you can see I started working on the black around, in the eye, without noticing that the surrounding area is not done yet. And it just doesn't make any sense because you really want to use your dark colors later. And then when I looked in the book, I realized, yeah, this part was already done and I just didn't pay attention. So make sure it's done. Here I was able to fill it in, but it's just more difficult. Like, you want this part done before you start working with your black. And now technically at this point you are almost done, but I added a little more color because I just felt like the tone was wrong of my base color on the wing. So I changed it a little bit to make it look more like what was in the book. And then of course, with the smallest brush possible, I went to do the antennae and the eyes and then a little bit of the outline. And now that's the part where she usually uses acrylics in the end just to add a little bit of that shade or glitter, like especially when you put those dots in the eyes, but then also a couple of dots the butterfly has on the wings. I think it looks so very pretty with the addition of the white acrylic color. And that's the part where you have to be careful not to overdo it and stop when it's time to stop, because there's always this urge to do just a little bit more. But at some point, it's good as it is. You have to let it go. And now, of course, I'm keeping my tradition of making those little frames for my miniatures. And that's probably one of my favorite parts because it's like the completion, you know. Once this part is done and the name is done, then I'm satisfied, and that is the end result. Now it's ready. It's a beautiful butterfly, which I've never seen in my life, but now I painted it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this type of content, give me a like, subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!